It's Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. Dialing in from our headquarters in Toronto, I'm Neil Modi, and with me, my co-host, Phil Emery. How you doing, Phil?
Calling in from St. John's, Newfoundland. I'm doing well, but I have nothing witty to say. Usually I have some kind of smart alecky response, and I just don't have anything in my brain today. So, but I'm still doing fine in St. John's, Newfoundland, amongst the snow.
Well, that's good to know, and hopefully everything's okay over there with the lack of wit. You know,
hasn't affected me at this point in my life. So,
well, it will now. All right, and for everyone else, please send your comments and questions, witty or not, to Song Talk Radio on Facebook or Instagram. Feedback at songtalk.ca for the email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit songtalk.ca to see the show post for this episode, find links to resources we mention, and to download lyric and chord sheets to follow along with the songs that we feature. Today, we're pleased to welcome Ursula Hegge to the show. How are you doing, Ursula?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you. Ursula's been a longtime member of our Song Talk meetup and a regular attendee there. So it's great to finally have you on the podcast.
Definitely. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, before we get to Ursula's song, great little video I discovered the other day on my YouTube algorithm to send me. Adam Neely, who's a really fantastic YouTuber. He's really a jazz musician at heart, but he talks a lot about music theory and other issues. Lately, he's been getting into more ethical ones. Like I saw one, another one of his today about the ethics of fake guitar videos, where people are going online and miming to a quantized recording and just pretending that it's a live thing, and the whole ethics of that. Really, really fascinating way of looking at the whole thing.
Why would you waste your time doing that? I don't understand.
Clicks,
I guess.
Yeah. But he gets into all the implications of that and what happens. But anyway, the video that I've forwarded to the other guys here that I saw the other day, it was called Suno, AI Music and the Bad Future. And it's his whole take on what the implications are of Suno coming out and doing what it does. It's quite a long video. It's like 90 minutes long. I watched it over a couple of days worth. But one of the interesting things, of course, is that he starts out a lot of interviews with the CEO of Suno, Mikey something or other. I forget his name now, but I didn't know who the CEO of Suno was either, but it's interesting to hear his point of view about how he wants the music industry to be as big as the gaming industry, and even equates to using Suno as like he says even in there, he wants to make it as interactive an experience as playing Fortnite, which is kind of a interesting way to look at music, but music as a consumer versus music as an active, something you actually participate in. But he covers a number of different topics. It goes through Suno's stated values, of which one of their values is impatience, which was really fascinating from a musical point of view, considering how much patience it takes to learn how to play an instrument, for instance.
I don't think he understands what the word values mean.
Perhaps not. Well, it's the things that you value, and that's all it is. Talks about the whole difference between craft and taste, and how traditional musicians value craft, and in the Suno universe they value taste more than anything else. Talks about Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction author, and how he predicted email and internet and sort of this sort of thing. He even goes through like the potential good uses of Suno, so he's not all doom and gloom. And it actually ends up with comparing the future of music perhaps with the way that film, cinema, and and theater are compared, how they have similarities, but they have differences. And AI music and versus live music may end up becoming a much more distinct thing. Recorded music versus live music may become a more distinct thing, two distinct things than it is now. But yeah, generally I found it very fascinating and informative and very insightful. So what do you think of it, Ursula?
I thought it was a really great video. I liked how he started, like you were saying, with the clips of the CEO. At first, I wasn't quite sure what I was watching. And so getting into it, it was interesting to hear his perspectives. And I think he laid things out in a way that made a lot of sense while keeping a kind of more or less balanced viewpoint. I know it wasn't exactly balanced, but all the same. Personally, I agreed with a lot of the things that he said. Myself, I have an extreme bias against AI in general and against AI in music specifically. So I was listening along, and sometimes the CEO or someone else would say something about what's it called again? Suno? Why do I not know that? I watched an hour and a half video on it.
Yes, Suno.
I was like, Sona? No. Yeah,
Soma.
they would say so. It's something. There's an S and there's a consonant, and yeah, they would say something on it, and I would be like screaming at my screen, like, "What are you talking about?" So it was passionate for me, but yeah, very interesting and good to hear some sort of discussion about this, because it is something that I feel is not perhaps being paid enough attention to in terms of critical thought about its adoption into music, not just in the music industry, but for musicians and in kind of more ordinary people's lives, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Yeah, and I think it is going to strike a strong chord with musicians who are more, dare I say, purist musicians.
That's fair. Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting point he made about it. Creating music is almost like sort of a game. And that was his idea of it, being the video game industry, which is, again, a huge industry, and I think is larger than the music industry now.
Well, that's what they say, and there's like 50 times the size in terms of consumership. Yeah.
So I've never really thought about it that way, because that's not kind of why I create music.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing. I mean, there's that game called Rock Band, and I know it's not the same thing, but it is a game that people play and it is involved in music, and I know people play it. I don't know how religiously people play it, like how often people play it, like if they play it as much as some of the role-playing games that people get into. And I don't know the status of that. Yeah, but do people still, are people still hooked on it as they were? And I kind of wonder if AI music might be very useful for people just doing like mindless background stuff for your video. And most people would just sort of steal something from the internet for that, or use the stuff that came with iTunes, or iMovie used to come with all these jingles that actually we use for our intro.
There you go.
But I don't know how long people would do that, because part of the thing about music is sort of the fact that you never get good enough, because no matter how good you get, you want to get better, and there's this sort of joy of that. And the people who wouldn't want to do that, I can see them playing around with AI for a while, but I can't imagine them not being distracted by something a little bit later on. Whereas people who make music, we get an endorphin rush from making music. So we get a whole bunch of dopamine when we come up with a great melody, or a great a tweak of our songs. We get a lot out of that, and that's kind of what we're chasing, or when you're performing. And there's people who love writing, and there's a lot of people who love performing, and it's that dopamine rush. And I don't know how much of a dopamine rush you're going to be able to get by doing prompts with AI. So yeah, lots. I mean,
Arguably, that's even less than you would get from playing a good video game.
yeah, because I don't think like it's kind of exciting, but I don't know how exciting it would be the 15th time. Also, I've been dealing with a whole bunch of issues with AI lately and clients using AI for things, and I swear that it's costing them 2 to 3 times as much as if they just did it the old-fashioned way. I've been trying to use AI for coding, and basically it gets it wrong most of the time. And I say, "Oh, that didn't work," and it goes, "Yes, you're right, it didn't work." And I'm going, "Then why did you give it to me?" It's so I think AI is a little bit. I know with Suma, it may be a little bit overhyped in general, and it's kind of cool and it has some uses, but I'm not sure if Suno is going to be able to stand the test of time. Maybe it will, but I can see people kind of getting bored with it and going, "Oh, I'd rather watch videos, or I'd rather, play a video game as opposed to, playing around with Sumo." But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to think about it from non-musicians' angles. Like, if you don't know how to play an instrument, if you maybe are just a lyricist or something, and you've never see. Here's the other issue that's even broader. Is okay. Well, maybe I'm a lyricist, living in a basement somewhere, and I've never interacted or collaborated with a musician to create a song. So here's another tool online for me to be able to do that, essentially, right? And then hear the realization of my lyric into some form of a song. But then the question remains: why haven't you gone outside your basement and engaged in real life with a musician? Maybe that's a bigger question, but I mean, I've used Suno a couple of times. We talked about it on the podcast late last year, and at times I do find it quite remarkable what it comes up with. Like, it's kind of mind-boggling. It's like, wow, where did you come up with that? And it gave me ideas to give me another draft of the song I was working on. I've also found it incredibly limiting in terms of, like, if I wanted to do a particular thing, sometimes it won't. After I watched this video, I was actually inspired to do like a piece of writing, like fictional writing that I had done. Like, I took a chapter from it and I pumped it into Suno. And for one thing, it was too long for the free Suno. It limits it at 5,000 characters, and it went over that. So it didn't know what to do. I wanted to make a song out of this story, essentially, right? And it couldn't do it. It just took it verbatim and just made it like a spoken word thing over a beat. I'm like, no, that's not what I was talking about, right? So it's not perfect, but I ended up taking that part of a story and feeding it into another website that was a lyric generator. And plug story into the thing. It came up with this. It wasn't a great lyric, but it wasn't bad either, right? And I fed that lyric into Suno, and it made a song. And I was like, it's okay. It's not great, but it was just a little experiment, right? So that's what I've been using it for. But
I mean, Ursula, have you looked into any? Have you played with any of these like AI tools yourself?
So I've used it probably more similar to you for coding, and I feel shame every time I do. But I felt I couldn't move past a certain point without it, and I would run into the same things where sometimes it would be very helpful. It would give me exactly what I needed, and other times I would give it code and it would say, "Yeah, it's all fixed," and then I wouldn't work, and I'd say, "No, it's not," and they'd be like, "No, you're right, it's not fixed. Here's what's wrong. You just told me it was fixed. What's going on? Keep up."
Gaslit by AI.
Just rude at a certain point. I haven't played around with the songwriting AI at all, but I do think it's interesting your point, Neil, about, like, for example, a lyricist who wants music to their lyrics, because we've met several people like that at the Song Talk meetup.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a really great point, and I do understand the point of it allowing a certain kind of accessibility to those things. At the same time, kind of to your point, Phil, about constantly improving. Even myself, like I've been really working to get better at guitar specifically, and I've been writing a lot of songs this past year. And I still find myself, even on the piano, which I'm very comfortable with, or in songwriting, like the point of these songwriting challenges, right? That we're always trying to get better, to stretch ourselves. And not to say that, just go and make music, whatever. But I do think that there's a certain kind of limiting where we feel that when we're starting something, we have to be good at it. And we really don't. And we're not going to be. And I think that, in the video when the CEO was talking about how they've opened up creation to everyone, I understand his point, given that he's talking about taste, that he thinks that they've opened up, quote unquote, good creation to everyone. But I think that the point of creation is not for it to suit someone's taste, but to create. And I think that was what was really hitting home for me. Even if my songs will never see the light of day, I create them because they help me work through things, or because I like to sing them. And even if I listen to the recording and I'm like, oh, wow, that was flat, or that's really bad, or, at the time I was enjoying it. I've kind of lost my train of thought. I'm very passionate about this, as you can tell. But just some kind of thoughts on that. I think, it's important to be able to create, but I think that all of us have a greater capacity for it than we perhaps give ourselves credit for.
I agree. And I think I did come up with something that what might happen is that people, come up with these songs using these tools, Sumo, and they go, wow, that's really cool. And maybe that would make them want to take the next step and actually learn how to play an instrument and then get into it.
Well,
it may be a way of getting into it. Whereas before it's, like when you're learning how to play an instrument, sometimes it takes so long to get to a point where you could do anything with it. That might help people get over that initial sort of frustration of, I can barely play 2 chords on the guitar and go between them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you were talking about Rock Band and video games like that before, but I've heard on a few occasions how it actually inspired, younger kids to play Rock Band. It's like, I've never heard that song before. Now I've played it on Rock Band. I really like that song. And they go and look up that classic rock band that they wouldn't have heard, maybe their parents played it for them, but they didn't give it the credibility it needed at that time. But having it in the context of the video game, it's like, hey, this is pretty cool stuff, right? And then they go and rediscover that sort of thing. But what you were talking about, Ursula, is really the difference between, well, not only between craft and taste, but also the value that we hold as musicians and as creative people about process. Right. And the point that the Suno guy was making was basically that it's completely commodified, right? We don't care about the process. And from the consumer point of view, they don't care about the process. They don't care how many iterations of the song you went through or how many versions of the recording you went through. They just want the final product. Right. And when you look at it, he even says this in the video, it's like, it's a poor return on investment if you spend 10 years writing this song as opposed to 90 seconds. You get it done with Suno, right? So you look at it from that point of view, it's like, but that being said, but we're not the only people that value process. There are consumers out there that would value process as well, right? So, and the whole idea of live performance, you're not going to get a laptop on stage with a Suno account and have it perform for an audience of people, right? So live performance will be more of a valued commodity, and process and sharing creative process and seeing creative process may become something of a valuable thing to if nothing else, to differentiate us from the instantaneous music creation process. But as well, it's also the difference between music becoming a passive activity and remaining an active activity, right? Because if people are interested in process, then they're going to watch a video of you creating your song or you jamming with your band at a rehearsal because you guys are in the midst of creating something, and that's interesting to them. That takes a little more active participation than doing the dishes and having AI created Spotify in the background, right? So there is that difference as well, and maybe as creators, then we need to put more emphasis on you know, he even says that in the video too, is that there may be bands and artists at the end of the day who forget about recording. Recording is taken over by AI. We're going to focus completely on live music. You want to hear these songs? They're strictly going to be in the live context.
And I did, especially as a jazz musician, for him coming from that perspective. I was at a jazz show late last fall, and I was me busy standing in the audience. I was like, where can I find these guys on Spotify? Like, they're so good. And they said, no, this is improvised. You're not going to get this anywhere. We don't record this. This is only live. And at the time, being a little bit I don't know, a little bit annoying, let's say. I was like, what, you mean I can't find it on Spotify? But I want to listen to it. What the hell, man? But in hindsight, I think it is a really cool idea. And especially I've been going to a lot more open mics and events this past year. And I've come to really value how special live music is, to your point. I think that it's something that I didn't really have an awareness of before, especially being in the pandemic, and I hadn't really gone out at all before the pandemic. And then coming out of that and being able to not only experience live music from like real professionals, but also just share music with people who are not wanting to make a career out of it, or who just write for fun, or are just sharing something that, like you always say at the Song Talk meet, if they wrote on a napkin. And, you know, that's been really special. And I think that is kind of where things can go, because live music is very special and unique in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and there's bands like Fish and Duck and, you know, various mammal named bands, and they're all these kind of jam bands, and their whole thing is these live versions of their songs, and the sets and every show is kind of different. So it's sort of that taken to the next level, and people, but of course, people do get recordings of the concerts, and they're doing really well. They have, you know, a huge community of people who just love this kind of jammy stuff. So, yes, it looks like live music is going to be where it's at. You know,
And like you're talking about the endorphin release, there's no bigger endorphin release than playing on stage.
Yeah. So, you know, who knows, maybe in the long run, there'll be more people who actually play music, you know?
Yeah, I hope so. And more people that go to live shows.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the other challenge.
it might be a good thing, or we might be working for robots, you know? So,
well, yeah.
the audience will be full of AI robots.
Very good. That was great.
It's like, if live is the only place we can collect this data, that's where we're going to be.
That was very okay.
Hey.
I will. It'd be so depressing if you like send out invites to AIs and they all sort of say, "Oh, I can't make it to the show. I got stuff to do."
The end of the show. If applause, encore.
The world's famous lies is, "I'll see you at the show."
All right. Okay. Enough about that. We will put a link to that video in the show notes for this episode. So by all means, check it out. And listeners, let us know what you think. And if everyone emails us, we may have to just spend an episode reading everyone's comments if everyone's as passionate about it as Ursula and the rest of us. So yeah, it'd be good to hear everyone's thoughts on this issue as it is ongoing. Okay, on to the main event. Ursula Hegge is a singer-songwriter from Toronto who has been writing songs for almost 15 years. With a larger-than-life voice and honest and insightful storytelling, her music connects across generations and spans across genres, from jazz-inspired scatting solos to moody piano ballads, and from energetic pop tunes to pensive folk songs. Hegge performs her original music regularly in the Toronto music scene with keys, acoustic guitar, alto saxophone, and of course, vocals. And she hopes to one day make someone cry with one of her songs, but in a good way. Music for her is a way to connect with others over the feelings we all share and to make sense of the world she loves to sing about. Tonight, we'll be talking to Ursula about her song, I've Been Writing Lots Lately. Be sure to download the lyric sheet on the show post at songtalk.ca to follow along. Let's have a listen.
write songs when I'm sad and lonely. Harmonies, they make such lovely company. When the lights go out and everyone is sleeping, I pick up my guitar and pen, I start singing. Some nights I go out, sing and shout my heart until my voice is hoarse and I'm near torn apart. They tell me the song's lovely and that it hurts so good. One thing to know about me is that I'd hoped it would, 'cause I've been writing lots lately, pouring out my pain until it forms a melody, then giving it a name. I want to hear you call it heartbreak and feel it flood your veins, and maybe for 3 minutes you and I will feel the same. My friends laugh when I show them one more sad song. It's become a running joke. I've been writing them so long. I laugh along 'cause it's the truth, and it might just help me too. Maybe I'll write a hit this time if I am hurt by you, 'cause I've been writing lots lately. No one wonders at the cost of writing all these lovely songs of grief and pain and loss. I've been writing lots lately. No one seems to wonder why. They just listen to me wail and say, boy, can that girl cry. I've been writing lots lately, pouring out my pain until it forms a melody, then giving it a name. I want to hear you call it heartbreak and feel it in your veins, and maybe for 3 minutes you and I will feel the same. This is for everyone I miss and things I never got to say. Every hard decision, every shitty day. The ones I love who are so close and yet so far away. The ones I wish I'd share this with, I just feel so alone in this. The ones I wish I'd send this to, please know this melody's for you. Please take my heart, my soul, my tongue, it's all for you. Yes, every song. Oh, I've been writing lots lately. They're turning out pretty well. Part of me is proud for making beauty out of hell. So if you see me crying while I sing this song, don't pay it any notice. Please just cry along. I've been writing lots lately. It's for me and it's for you. A special kind of diary shared with a crowded room. I want to hear you call it heartbreak, and when you say my name, I want you to remember that I made you feel this way. Just leave it all here in this bar and go home feeling light, after crying out your heartaches to this song I sang tonight. It's pretty good, right? I write songs when I'm sad and lonely. Harmonies, they make such lovely company. When the stars come up and everyone is dreaming, I pick up my guitar and pen and I start singing. I start singing.
Very nice.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many points of surprise. You know, it's very melodic in almost a commercial sense, but then it's not boring. It's, you know, lots of variety in the melody. I mean, there's not so much now. I think the style has sort of gone away, but there was a style for a while where it was very melodies were just like and I know and there's like 2 or 3 notes, you know.
Yes, I think I might have grown up in one of those times. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and I remember going, that's kind of dull, but I always remembered that stuff does come and go, and I think that's sort of old fashioned. But lots of wonderful melodies, and I love the chorus. You do this thing that my favorite songwriters do, is where it seems like it's going in one direction, and then it kind of quickly sort of deeks around. The melodies or like the chords are it is so tasty. There's so much in this song.
Thank you.
And it never feels forced. Doing that kind of stuff can seem, when people are trying too hard, it gets a little bit sort of rough. This seemed very natural, and yeah, just a beautifully written, perfectly written song. Absolutely amazing stuff.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with everything you say there, Phil. I mean, it does have these moments of like tension and extensions of things. Like I think the verse, "This is for everyone I miss," and then at the end of it, "The ones I'd send this to, please, melodies for you, take my heart, my soul, my tongue." It's all, it sounds like it's an extended verse. Like it just kind of, it's longer than the other ones. And you just made room for it, and it still feels natural. And it still feels like it was meant to be that way. It doesn't feel like, oh, we just jammed an extra 3 lines on this verse because we had to.
That is kind of what I do, but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's not, in some ways that is what you did, but at the same time, I think it flows in such a way. The whole thing has got this amazing flow to it, like especially the chorus just sort of meanders. Like Phil says, it goes in different directions, but it eventually comes back to one, and it kind of comes back to the home base, and it's really quite nice. And you've got like 1, 2, 3. I got like 5 versions of this chorus. It's great.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
It's musically complex. So often in pop music, melodies are very simple, like do 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 do, or even a lot of Sting stuff is do 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 do, very kind of simple. Where there's so many little variations here, but it doesn't feel forced. It just feels natural, and it's a hard thing to do. I don't think I could do it. I mean, you had so many words, the way they sort of flowed, and they didn't, like, the meter wasn't super strict.
Yeah.
That's just almost that sort of kind of very Joni Mitchell-ish kind of.
It does have a very Joni Mitchell quality to it. Yeah, even the singing style to a certain extent. Yeah, it's very cool. Like, was there a lot of, like, I would think, if I were to write a song this smooth, I'd be like, there would have been a lot of editing of lyrics. Like, I'd have to go back and forth a lot and refine lines, just so this, like, because all the syllables feel in the right place. You know what I mean? And all the emphasis and all this sort of stuff. It all sounds like it belongs where it is.
Yeah, so this song I started writing, I was going back through the original kind of recordings of it earlier today. And the first recording I have, I always find it funny listening to them because they're so rough. And so it's me, it's like 10 p.m. or something. And I'm like, I found some really pretty chords in the guitar. Listen to this. So I've got 1 finger on the 2nd fret and,
That's good. You record all that stuff. That's
yeah.
Smart.
That's the only way I could do it. And then the second thing I have that I think I got the idea in my head of like, I think the first line I have is, I write music when I'm sad and lonely, and then that changed to songs. But I don't even remember changing it. It kind of just ended up working better that way. So there were some kind of iterations. I wrote a few lines that I completely scrapped. One of them was, I thought you might appreciate my guitar is my best frenemy. That was scrapped. So there was a lot that was kind of scrapped, and then I ended up with I was able to kind of, I don't know, go through it and write a lot. But yeah, I have here, like, I'm just looking at my notebook, an entire other verse that was scrapped. So there was a lot of scrapping of, I think, kind of like different verses and things like that, but not so much specific lines. The lines for this song came out very naturally. Even the melody, you're saying there's so many variations, completely unintentional, truly. Even the chorus, it just felt very natural to come out that way as I was playing those really lovely chords that I had never played before.
Oh, is that because you're new at guitar, or was it just something? Is it more of a piano chord progression, or what was it?
So yeah, I was fiddling around on the guitar at night, and I did I think I meant to do an A major or maybe an A minor, and then I did it on the wrong fret, and I was like, oh, that's a kind of cool seventh. So that's why. And then I was like, oh, what happens if I just move this up? Oh, wait, that's a chord progression, and I don't have to do bar chords, which is great because I hate
There you go.
that's the goal, really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that came from, and it's nice sometimes to just kind of, I don't know, place your fingers on different places on the neck and just kind of see what comes out.
So do you know what those chords are, or
No.
you just know the shapes on the guitar?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, cool. Yeah, no,
There's lots of little bits
great.
of humor too, like sort of clever wordplay. But then again, like not too much. It never sort of gets in the way. It's still a very
No, certainly not.
emotional and kind of very pure song. But every now and then it gets a little bit sort of, kind of clever, but just for a bit, which is so nice. It's
there's a few spots where you just smile because it's like, yeah, I know what you mean, and it's like cute, right? I feel like every songwriter at some point has wrote a song about writing songs or about playing music.
Yeah. I thought this would be a good one for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know I've seen a lot of people do it, and they often are good experiments, and I think they can sometimes fall down a bit. Where this one is wonderful. It doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel self-aggrandizing. It's
no.
But what you should do is, listeners out there, is go to songtalk.ca and look at the lyric sheet, because I think there's more lyrics in this one song than I've written probably in the last 4 years.
Yeah. You fit it all on one page. Yeah. It's a lot of words. And like I say, like every chorus is lyrically different. Just starts off with the title line, I've been writing lots lately, but then it's a completely different content. And they're all valuable. Like they're not like you're saying the same thing. You are kind of saying the same thing, but in a different context, a different way. Like it's very measured that way. It doesn't feel repetitive at all.
I'm glad. Yeah.
Let's talk about how you do those choruses with the variations. Like, how are you keeping track of those variations, or is it just sort of totally natural and you're not paying attention, or is each one considered?
In terms of the choruses at the end kind of thing, where there's like 5 or 6, I can't even remember how many stanzas, or...
Yeah, well, because like your chords, I've been writing lots lately. They're all a little bit different, and there's a little bit of variation in each one. Are those just natural variations, or are those variations considered?
So sorry, just to clarify. So in terms of the chords, or I heard
no,
chorus
the melody.
First
your melody.
Oh yeah. The melody. So let me think what I've got here. So I've been writing lots lately. Oh, I didn't even realize I did that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's sweet. Very tasty.
I think those things kind of came out naturally. The first 2 kind of chorus stanzas that come in the second chorus, we're going to be using the word chorus a lot, I guess, are those felt more kind of structured to me. The main chorus that I start with was kind of, I don't know, the heart of the song. And then those other ones go a bit more into it. And I find that at the end of the day, it's kind of self-pitying song, which is so fun to write, because it's the only time that you get to sit down and just be like, oh, poor me.
Yeah.
But I find that the melodies kind of varied naturally. I sometimes, my sister once said to me, we were listening to an Adele song, I think when we were young. And she said, it sounds like she's speaking when she's in the melody. Let me hold you close in this light in case it is the last time. Like it flows like a sentence. And I think that I really like often in my performance too, to really like feel the songs. And I think that's where the melody comes from sometimes. At the end when I'm saying, oh, I've been writing lots lately. they're coming out pretty well. You know, part of me is proud for making, and it just kind of comes out like I'm saying it, with emphasis on different points. I know that's not a very helpful explanation, but that's kind of how it comes out.
Well,
Which is very
and
clever.
that's the thing. Like, it's fairly conversational in that sense, right? Even though the melodies are expansive and kind of sing-songy and almost, I won't say nursery rhymey, but kind of, it's more sing-songy, right? Yeah, it's kind of, it is pretty much how you would just say it to somebody. Like, it's nice that way. So in some ways, I mean, it's I don't like to talk, we don't like to talk about genre very much, but it's got, you know, the melodies sort of suggest jazz, the chords sort of suggest jazz, but the lyrical construction sort of suggests folk. It's
I'm a mess when it comes to genre. I don't.
Yeah, and it's perfectly fine, even if you don't think about it. You're just writing a song. Like, who cares what bucket the powers that be you want to put it in, right? It doesn't matter. But in terms of style cues, you know, it's sort of picking up from a number of different things, and you know, it's long as a rap song. Like, the lyric is long as a rap song.
Oh, absolutely,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So, this is just you and an acoustic. Have you thought about recording this sort of more formally?
It's not something that had really crossed my mind just yet. So I wrote this song back in the fall, I think. And so even though I'm very practiced on it, it still feels rather fresh in my repertoire. I have some older songs that I feel like I've been sitting on for a long time, and they're like staring at me in the back of my head, burning a hole, and saying like, when are you going to record me? Come on, it's been years. So I feel like I have those kind of sitting on the back burner. But I would love to record this one. I really like it. But funny enough, you know, I was listening to the lyrics again, and I have that lyric at the end, leave it all here in this bar and go home feeling light. And I love singing that live because I feel like I'm really talking to people. And then I'm listening to the recording and I'm like, well, that doesn't really work, does it? So it, you know,
That's great.
Okay, good.
It works. Worked for me. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah. No, it was just interesting. It kind of brought me back to our discussion about live music. That like that's what this song was kind of born from. I was playing at all these open mics and playing all these like new songs. I'd be like, I finished this song this week and it's super depressing. And I'm like, oh, can anyone see that like this is like a really sad thing? And I'm like, here, a shiny new gift for you. So it's just interesting to think about that. So no, I haven't really got it on my recording radar yet, but I'd like to someday. As with
if you were to record this, would you record it to a steady click to a metronome?
No, I could
just
never.
Let it do its thing.
Oh yeah. No, I'm so bad. I can stay on beat, but I just don't like to.
No, and sometimes the song doesn't want it, and especially if you're writing that way and you're performing it that way, it's hard to. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a recording producer's worst nightmare. Like I'm like, no, I want to sing and play piano at the same time. No, don't give me a metronome. No. So yeah.
Hey, the greatest music that's lasted the longest was not played to a metronome. It wasn't played to a click. So
there we go.
There you go. You know, you don't need to do it.
There are caveats to that, though. Anyway,
we disagree on that, but that's okay, Neil. I love you so much, Neil. You can be wrong all you want. So.
Yeah, well, you can have a little nuance there.
No nuance. No.
Well, it gets back to the whole AI discussion in craft, right? You get a bunch of people in a room who really rehearsed well and practiced well. Yes, you can record them without a click all together. But these days, when we're recording all our parts individually,
well, that's
and one at a time, the metronome is an enormous help.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit of nuance.
Well, it depends on context, right? Anyway, okay, great stuff. I'm here in the band. I think that's all the time we have today on Stone Talk Radio. Special thanks to Ursula Hegge. So where can our listeners find out more about you and hear some more tunes?
You can find me anywhere on all the socials and all the streaming platforms, and at different mics around the city. I post on my Instagram at Ursula Hegge Music. And I like to say, if you're sharing it, that my name is Ursula, like the sea witch in The Little Mermaid, and Hegge is Hegge. That usually gets people talking. So yeah, at Ursula Hegge Music, wherever you find your music.
Awesome. All right. Be sure to link to that on the show post for this episode. And we want to hear from you too. So please send your comments to us on Facebook or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email, feedback@songtalk.ca. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes. And subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And please visit us please support us at our Patreon page. You can visit songtalk.ca/support. Thank you for everyone who supported us so far.
Thank you.
You can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on the show on our resources page on the website. And please join us at our next monthly Song Talk meetup. Whether you're in Toronto for our in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups, it's free to join on Eventbrite and free to attend the meetup. Bring a song and a lyric sheet and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Phil.
phillemery.ca.
And Ursula, you already said your Instagram is the place to find you. It's Ursula Hegge Music.
That's the one.
Awesome. Be sure to follow Ursula there. And be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows, find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in, and keep on writing. Yeah, cool.
What a brilliant song.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
It's
That was great. Super fun song. I really like it.
Thank you.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely try to record it. It's good.
Mhm.
It deserves to
Thank
be
you so
recorded.
much. Yeah.
it's
No,
really
I do
good.
really like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
played it at I had like a lab party up at school just over the holidays, and I played it for them just before I left, and one of my lab mates the whole time was just looking at me with this like really sad look on his face, like, oh my god. Like,
It's not that sad, though. Maybe it's the melodies. It's not that sad. I don't find it sad.
It's
I find it
melancholy. I think it's
hopeful, if anything.
melancholy.
Good.
Maybe a little melancholy, but I do see a lot of hope in it, ultimately.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.
When I was, I don't know, like 7 or 8, I listened to radio all the time. And we were talking about how music goes through these phases and styles. And there was this weird phase for a while where everyone was doing like super depressing songs. Like, like there's this one song that's called Alone Again Naturally. And it was so depressing. And it was the first time as a kid I was just going, like, this is so depressing. Is this supposed to be a joke? Because it was just so far. It's like, my mother died, and, so I threw myself off a tower, and, it was just really,
Obviously lived
really
to tell his
dark,
tale.
And I just, and there was all these ones that were really dark, and, the 5th of December, that was the day when my daddy died. Papa was a Rolling Stone. All that stuff that's really dark, and I think it's kind of affected me ever since. Because it just,
And you're a big fan of the Smiths. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah, it's true. There was a couple of little wordplay things that reminded me of the Smiths, of Morrissey. So, but in the good way, when he's not being an asshat. So,
Poor Morrissey. Poor Morrissey fans. Jeez.
yes. So, right, we edit on the weekend and probably have it out Tuesday or Wednesday.
Amazing.
If you can share it amongst your peeps, that would be awesome.
Totally. Awesome. Okay.
Cool beans.
That's amazing. And thank you so much for having me on again. Thank you. It was great to bump into you, Neil. And
Yeah, for sure.
Happened finally. Yeah.
And great to see
you
you.
too.
And,
Great to see you as well.
great song. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care, Ursula.
Have a good
Bye.
evening.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye.